Joseph Murphy's groundbreaking work, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, stands as one of the most influential books ever written on the subject of mental transformation and personal development. Published in 1963, this masterpiece has touched millions of lives across the globe, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers to deliver its timeless message. Murphy, a minister and scholar who spent decades studying the inner workings of the human mind, presents a comprehensive framework for understanding how our thoughts shape our reality. The book's central premise is both simple and profound. Our subconscious mind is an incredibly powerful force that operates continuously, whether we're aware of it or not. This mental powerhouse controls our habits, beliefs, emotions, and ultimately, the circumstances we experience in our daily lives. Murphy argues that by learning to communicate effectively with our subconscious, we can transform every aspect of our existence. The techniques he presents aren't based on wishful thinking or empty promises, but rather on universal principles that have been tested throughout human history. Throughout the book, Murphy weaves together insights from psychology, spirituality, and practical observation to create a holistic approach to self-improvement. He emphasizes that we don't need to remain victims of negative programming from our past. Instead, we possess the innate ability to reprogram our subconscious mind with positive, life-affirming beliefs. This reprogramming process, while requiring dedication and consistency, is accessible to anyone willing to apply the principles Murphy outlines. The book serves as both a theoretical foundation and a practical manual for those seeking to harness the extraordinary power residing within their own minds. The fundamental principle that Murphy establishes early in his work is the distinction between the conscious and subconscious aspects of our mind. The conscious mind, he explains, is the reasoning, analytical part of our mental apparatus that makes decisions and exercises judgment throughout our waking hours. It's the part of us that thinks critically, weighs options, and attempts to navigate the complexities of daily life through logical analysis. However, Murphy reveals that this conscious mind, despite its importance, is merely the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our mental capabilities. The subconscious mind, in contrast, is vastly more powerful and operates on an entirely different set of principles. Unlike the conscious mind, which can hold only one thought at a time, the subconscious can process thousands of operations simultaneously. It controls our automatic bodily functions, stores all our memories and experiences, and serves as the repository of our deepest beliefs and convictions. Most importantly, the subconscious mind doesn't reason or argue with the information it receives. It simply accepts what the conscious mind impresses upon it and works tirelessly to manifest those impressions in physical reality. This is where Murphy's teaching becomes revolutionary. He demonstrates that the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. Therefore, by deliberately choosing the thoughts and images we feed to our subconscious, we essentially program it to create the life we desire. Murphy uses the analogy of a garden to illustrate this relationship. The conscious mind is the gardener who chooses which seeds to plant, while the subconscious is the fertile soil that brings those seeds to fruition, whether they're weeds or flowers. Murphy dedicates considerable attention to explaining how the subconscious mind responds to the power of belief and faith. He argues that belief is not merely a passive acceptance of ideas, but rather an active force that shapes our psychological and physical reality. When we truly believe something at the subconscious level, our entire being aligns to make that belief a reality in our experience. This principle explains why people with strong faith often seem to experience what others might call miracles or extraordinary coincidences. Murphy cites numerous examples from his counseling practice, where individuals overcame seemingly impossible obstacles simply by changing their fundamental beliefs about what was possible. He emphasizes that the subconscious mind is completely neutral and impersonal in its operation. It will work just as diligently to manifest negative beliefs as positive ones. This is why people who constantly worry about illness often find themselves afflicted with the very conditions they feared. Conversely, those who maintain unwavering faith in their health and well-being tend to enjoy robust vitality throughout their lives. Murphy explains that the subconscious accepts as true whatever the conscious mind believes with feeling and conviction. The emotional component is crucial here. Mere intellectual acknowledgement of an idea isn't sufficient to impress it upon the subconscious. We must feel the truth of what we're affirming with genuine emotion and conviction. This is why positive affirmations work best when they're accompanied by vivid mental imagery and authentic emotional engagement. Murphy provides numerous techniques for developing this kind of emotionally charged faith, including visualization exercises and repetitive affirmations performed in a relaxed, receptive state of mind. The practical application of subconscious power begins with understanding the role of prayer and affirmative thinking in Murphy's system. However, Murphy's concept of prayer differs significantly from traditional religious notions that many people hold. He doesn't advocate for begging or pleading with an external deity to grant favors or change circumstances. Instead, Murphy teaches that effective prayer is essentially a method of impressing desired outcomes upon the subconscious mind with clarity, conviction, and feeling. When we pray in this manner, we're not trying to convince God to help us. Rather, we're aligning our subconscious beliefs with the positive outcomes we desire. Murphy explains that the most effective form of prayer involves entering a relaxed, drowsy state where the conscious mind's critical faculties are quieted. In this receptive condition, affirmations and visualizations can penetrate directly into the subconscious without interference from doubt or skepticism. He recommends performing this kind of mental work twice daily, once in the morning upon awakening and once at night just before falling asleep. These transitional periods between waking and sleeping are particularly potent because the subconscious is most impressionable during these times. Murphy suggests creating clear mental pictures of desired outcomes and feeling the emotions associated with having already achieved those goals. This technique, which he calls scientific prayer, bypasses the limitations and resistances of the conscious mind. The key is to maintain the mental picture with confidence and without strain, trusting that the subconscious will find ways to manifest the visualized outcome in physical reality. Murphy provides numerous testimonials from individuals who used this approach to heal illnesses, attract prosperity, find ideal relationships, and overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Murphy devotes extensive discussion to the healing power of the subconscious mind, presenting compelling evidence that our thoughts directly influence our physical health. He explains that every thought we think produces a corresponding chemical reaction in the body, releasing hormones and neurotransmitters that affect our cellular structure and organ function. Negative thoughts of fear, anger, and resentment create toxic chemical conditions that can lead to illness and disease over time. Conversely, thoughts of love, peace, and confidence generate healing chemicals that promote cellular regeneration and optimal bodily function. Murphy emphasizes that the body is essentially a faithful servant of the mind, responding obediently to the dominant mental patterns we maintain. He shares numerous case studies of individuals who experienced spontaneous remissions from serious illnesses after changing their mental habits and beliefs. One particularly striking example involves a woman suffering from chronic arthritis who experienced complete recovery after learning to replace her habitual thoughts of resentment and bitterness with forgiveness and love. Murphy explains that such healings aren't supernatural miracles, but rather the natural result of aligning one's mind with the body's inherent healing intelligence. The subconscious mind, he teaches, contains infinite intelligence and knows exactly how to repair any dysfunction or disease within the body. Our job is simply to remove the mental blocks and negative programming that interfere with this natural healing process. Murphy provides specific techniques for healing, including visualization of perfect health, affirmations of wholeness, and the practice of forgiveness to release toxic emotions. He stresses that faith in the healing power of the subconscious must be absolute, without any room for doubt or contradiction. The relationship between the subconscious mind and prosperity occupies a central place in Murphy's teachings. He challenges the common belief that wealth and abundance are matters of luck, inheritance, or ruthless competition in the marketplace. Instead, Murphy presents prosperity as primarily a mental state that must first be established in consciousness before it can manifest in external circumstances. He explains that the subconscious mind operates according to a universal law of abundance, which states that there are infinite resources available to meet every legitimate need and desire. However, many people block the flow of prosperity into their lives through limiting beliefs about money and success that were programmed into their subconscious during childhood. Common prosperity-blocking beliefs include the notions that money is the root of evil, that wealthy people are somehow morally inferior, or that poverty is a noble spiritual condition. Murphy systematically dismantles these misconceptions, demonstrating that money is simply a symbol of exchange and that desiring prosperity is natural and healthy. He teaches that the first step toward attracting wealth is to develop what he calls a prosperity consciousness, which involves maintaining habitual thoughts of abundance, success, and plenty. This doesn't mean engaging in denial about current financial challenges, but rather focusing mental energy on the desired state of prosperity rather than dwelling on present limitations. Murphy provides specific affirmations for building wealth consciousness, such as "wealth flows to me freely and abundantly," and "I am a channel for infinite supply." He emphasizes that these affirmations must be repeated with genuine feeling and conviction, preferably while in a relaxed, meditative state. Additionally, Murphy teaches the importance of blessing others' success and prosperity rather than envying it, as envy creates a psychological barrier to receiving abundance ourselves. Murphy explores the fascinating connection between the subconscious mind and harmonious relationships, revealing how our inner mental states attract corresponding experiences in our interactions with others. He explains that the people we encounter and the quality of our relationships directly reflect our subconscious beliefs and expectations about human nature and social connection. Those who harbor deep-seated beliefs that people are untrustworthy, cruel, or indifferent will consistently attract experiences that confirm these beliefs. Conversely, individuals who maintain a fundamental faith in the goodness of humanity and approach others with love and respect tend to enjoy warm, supportive relationships throughout their lives. Murphy emphasizes that we cannot change other people through force, manipulation, or criticism. We can only change our own mental attitudes toward them. However, when we genuinely transform our inner consciousness regarding a relationship, the outer circumstances often shift in remarkable ways. He shares stories of troubled marriages that were saved not through couples therapy or external intervention, but through one partner's committed work on their own consciousness. This work typically involves releasing resentment, practicing forgiveness, and visualizing the other person as their highest, most loving self. Murphy teaches a powerful technique he calls mental chemicalization, which involves imagining the person with whom we're experiencing difficulty and deliberately projecting thoughts of love, goodwill, and blessing toward them. This practice, performed consistently over time, can dissolve even the most stubborn conflicts and transform hostile relationships into harmonious ones. The key principle here is that our subconscious mind is always broadcasting our dominant thoughts and feelings, and others respond to these invisible mental emanations, whether we're consciously aware of transmitting them or not. The role of forgiveness emerges as one of the most crucial practices in Murphy's system for maintaining mental health and activating the subconscious mind's full potential. Murphy explains that holding grudges, nursing resentments, and maintaining unforgiveness toward others creates a toxic mental environment that poisons every aspect of our lives. When we refuse to forgive, we essentially chain ourselves to the person or situation that hurt us, reliving the pain repeatedly through our thoughts and memories. This constant rehearsal of negative experiences impresses patterns of victimhood, anger, and powerlessness into the subconscious mind, which then manifests these patterns as ongoing suffering in our present circumstances. Murphy teaches that forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that injuries never occurred. Rather, true forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, a deliberate choice to release the toxic emotional burden of the past and reclaim our mental freedom. He provides a powerful forgiveness technique that involves consciously blessing the person who caused harm and wishing for their highest good and spiritual evolution. This practice may feel impossible at first, especially for those who have suffered severe trauma or betrayal. But Murphy assures readers that with persistent practice, genuine forgiveness becomes possible. The act of blessing those who have hurt us short-circuits the negative emotional charge associated with the memory, gradually dissolving its power to disturb our peace. Murphy shares numerous testimonials from individuals who experienced dramatic improvements in their health, relationships, and overall life circumstances after finally releasing long-held resentments through forgiveness. He emphasizes that forgiveness must be practiced not just once but repeatedly, whenever the painful memory resurfaces, until the emotional charge is completely neutralized. Murphy addresses the critical importance of our habitual thought patterns and mental diet in shaping our experience of reality. He compares the mind to a physical body, explaining that just as we must be careful about the food we consume to maintain physical health, we must be equally vigilant about the mental content we allow into our consciousness. The subconscious mind is constantly absorbing impressions from every thought we think, every conversation we engage in, every book we read, and every piece of media we consume. These impressions accumulate over time, forming the mental atmosphere in which we live, and which ultimately determines the quality of our life experience. Murphy warns against the tendency to indulge in negative thinking habits, such as worry, criticism, gossip, and anxious speculation about potential disasters. Each time we engage in these mental patterns, we're essentially programming our subconscious to expect and attract negative outcomes. He teaches that we must become guardians at the gate of our own minds, carefully monitoring our thoughts and refusing entry to those that don't serve our highest good. This doesn't mean repressing or fighting against negative thoughts when they arise, as resistance only strengthens what we're resisting. Instead, Murphy advocates a technique of gentle redirection. When a negative thought appears, we simply acknowledge it without judgment and then consciously replace it with a positive, constructive thought. Over time, with consistent practice, this redirection becomes automatic, and the mind naturally gravitates toward more optimistic, empowering patterns. Murphy recommends cultivating specific positive habits, such as beginning each day with affirmations of gratitude, success, and well-being, and ending each day by reviewing the positive experiences and progress made. He also suggests limiting exposure to negative news media and toxic social environments that constantly feed the mind with fearful, disturbing content. The phenomenon of intuition and the subconscious mind's problem-solving capabilities represent another fascinating dimension of Murphy's teachings. He explains that the subconscious possesses access to vast reservoirs of knowledge and wisdom far beyond what our conscious reasoning can access. Throughout history, great discoveries, inventions, and creative breakthroughs have often come through sudden flashes of intuitive insight rather than through logical, step-by-step analysis. Murphy shares numerous examples of famous scientists, inventors, and artists who received their most important ideas during dreams or moments of relaxation when their conscious minds were quiet. This occurs because the subconscious mind can perceive patterns, connections, and solutions that remain invisible to our limited conscious awareness. Murphy teaches that we can deliberately tap into this intuitive intelligence by presenting clear questions or problems to our subconscious before entering sleep. The process involves stating the challenge clearly and then affirming with confidence that the perfect solution will be revealed. After this affirmation, we must release the problem entirely, trusting that the subconscious will work on it during sleep or periods of relaxation. Many people report waking up with sudden clarity about issues that seemed impossibly complex the night before. Murphy explains that this is the subconscious mind's way of communicating its solutions to conscious awareness. He emphasizes the importance of paying attention to hunches, gut feelings, and spontaneous insights that arise throughout the day, as these are often the subconscious mind's attempts to guide us toward beneficial actions and away from potential dangers. The more we trust and act upon these intuitive promptings, the stronger and more reliable this inner guidance becomes. Murphy cautions against dismissing intuition as irrational or unscientific, pointing out that many of humanity's greatest achievements resulted from following inner knowing rather than conventional logic. Murphy devotes considerable attention to the power of sleep and the theta state of consciousness as gateways to subconscious reprogramming. He explains that during the transition from waking consciousness to sleep, the mind passes through a twilight zone where the critical, analytical functions of the conscious mind are suspended while the subconscious remains receptive to suggestion. This hypnagogic state, as it's scientifically known, represents a golden opportunity for impressing new beliefs and patterns into the subconscious mind. Murphy recommends using the period just before falling asleep to rehearse positive affirmations, visualize desired outcomes, and impress the subconscious with images of success, health, and happiness. The drowsy, relaxed condition naturally bypasses the skeptical resistance that might arise during full waking consciousness. He shares numerous success stories of individuals who transformed their lives simply by changing what they thought about in those final moments before sleep. Instead of reviewing the day's problems and worries, which impresses negative patterns into the subconscious and often leads to disturbed sleep and anxiety dreams, these individuals learn to fill their minds with peaceful, positive thoughts. Murphy suggests specific pre-sleep affirmations such as, "I sleep in peace and awaken in joy," or "Infinite intelligence reveals perfect solutions to all my concerns while I sleep." He also teaches that the subconscious continues working on whatever problem or question we present to it before sleep, often delivering solutions through dreams or morning insights. For this reason, Murphy recommends keeping a journal by the bedside to capture any inspiration or guidance that emerges upon waking. The morning awakening period is equally important, as the first thoughts we think upon emerging from sleep set the tone for the entire day and impress lasting patterns on the subconscious. The concept of mental imagery and visualization forms a cornerstone of Murphy's practical techniques for subconscious programming. He explains that the subconscious mind thinks primarily in pictures and images, rather than in words and abstract concepts. Therefore, the most effective way to communicate our desires to the subconscious is through vivid mental imagery, accompanied by corresponding emotions. Murphy teaches that we should create detailed mental movies of our desired outcomes, engaging all 5 senses in the visualization process. If we desire better health, we should see ourselves looking vibrant and energetic, feel the sensation of physical vitality, hear others commenting on our healthy appearance, and experience the emotions of gratitude and joy associated with perfect health. The more detailed and emotionally charged these mental images become, the more powerfully they impress themselves upon the subconscious. Murphy emphasizes that visualization is not mere fantasy or wishful thinking. It's a scientific technique for activating the creative powers of the subconscious mind. When we repeatedly imagine a specific outcome with clarity and feeling, the subconscious accepts this imagined experience as real and begins orchestrating circumstances, opportunities, and behaviors to manifest it in physical reality. He warns against visualizing while in a state of strain or desperation, as these emotions communicate lack and doubt to the subconscious. Instead, visualization should be practiced in a relaxed, confident state, with the feeling that the desired outcome has already been achieved. Murphy shares remarkable stories of athletes who improved their performance through mental rehearsal, business people who attracted success through visualization of their goals, and individuals who healed serious illnesses by consistently imagining themselves in perfect health. He provides step-by-step instructions for effective visualization practice, recommending sessions of 15 to 20 minutes twice daily in a quiet environment where one won't be disturbed. Murphy explores the fascinating relationship between fear and its opposite, faith, demonstrating how these two mental states produce radically different results in our lives. He explains that fear is essentially faith in negative outcomes, a form of negative prayer that impresses destructive patterns into the subconscious mind. When we habitually worry and imagine worst-case scenarios, we're actually using the creative power of our subconscious to attract the very experiences we're trying to avoid. Murphy points out that fear is learned rather than innate. Infants are born with only 2 natural fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises, while all other fears are acquired through negative experiences and conditioning. This means that learned fears can be unlearned and replaced with faith and confidence through deliberate subconscious reprogramming. Murphy teaches that the antidote to fear is not courage in the sense of fighting against fear, but rather the cultivation of faith so strong that fear cannot coexist with it. He provides a powerful technique for dissolving specific fears by deliberately imagining the feared situation while maintaining complete calm and confidence, repeatedly, until the emotional charge dissipates. This process of systematic desensitization works by impressing new associations into the subconscious, replacing fear responses with feelings of peace and capability. Murphy emphasizes that we should never deny or suppress our fears, as repression only drives them deeper into the subconscious, where they continue exerting influence. Instead, we should acknowledge fears consciously and then deliberately choose to replace them with affirmations of faith and protection. He shares stories of people who overcame debilitating phobias, including fears of public speaking, flying, and social situations, through consistent application of these principles. Murphy explains that as we develop faith in the protective power of our subconscious mind, we discover an inner sense of security that external circumstances cannot shake. The principle of mental equivalence represents one of Murphy's most practical and immediately applicable teachings. He explains that we cannot experience in our outer lives anything for which we don't first have a mental equivalent in our consciousness. A mental equivalent is essentially a deeply held belief or concept about what's possible for us, what we deserve, and what feels natural and familiar. Murphy observes that people often sabotage their own success and happiness because their current circumstances exceed their mental equivalents. For example, someone who unexpectedly receives a large sum of money but holds a poverty consciousness will typically find ways to lose that money quickly because prosperity doesn't match their internal programming. Similarly, individuals who don't possess a mental equivalent for healthy relationships will unconsciously create conflict and drama in their partnerships because turbulent relationships feel more familiar than peaceful ones. Murphy teaches that the key to lasting transformation is not trying to force changes in our external circumstances, but rather building new mental equivalents through consistent mental work. This involves regularly imagining ourselves already in possession of the desired condition, feeling the emotions associated with it, and allowing these new patterns to become familiar and natural in our consciousness. He explains that the subconscious will always move us toward experiences that match our mental equivalents. So by changing these inner templates, we automatically alter our outer reality. Murphy provides techniques for building mental equivalents in specific areas such as health, wealth, relationships, and career success. He emphasizes that this process requires patience and persistence, as the subconscious doesn't transform overnight. However, with consistent daily practice of visualization, affirmation, and mental rehearsal, anyone can build new mental equivalents that correspond to their highest aspirations. Murphy shares testimonials from individuals who completely transformed their life circumstances by first transforming their mental equivalents, proving that external change naturally follows internal transformation. Murphy dedicates significant attention to the role of habits in either empowering or limiting our lives, explaining that habits are simply subconscious patterns that have been established through repetition. Every habit, whether beneficial or destructive, exists as a neural pathway in the brain that has been strengthened through repeated use. The good news, Murphy explains, is that just as negative habits were formed through repetition, they can be reformed through consistent application of new patterns. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between good and bad habits. It simply executes whatever programs have been most deeply impressed upon it. This is why breaking destructive habits through willpower alone rarely succeeds. We're trying to use the relatively weak conscious mind to override powerful subconscious programming. Murphy teaches a more effective approach. Instead of fighting against the unwanted habit, we should focus our energy on impressing a new, positive habit into the subconscious. This is accomplished through a combination of techniques, including visualization of ourselves already exhibiting the desired behavior, affirmations that reinforce the new pattern, and most importantly, emotionally charged mental rehearsal of the new habit. Murphy explains that the subconscious responds particularly strongly to commands given in a state of deep relaxation, so habit reformation work is best performed during meditation or just before sleep. He recommends creating a clear mental picture of yourself already free from the limiting habit and experiencing the benefits of the new behavior. For example, someone overcoming a smoking habit should visualize themselves breathing freely, feeling healthy and proud, and experiencing life as a non-smoker. This visualization should be practiced multiple times daily with genuine feeling and conviction. Murphy shares numerous success stories of people who overcame addictions, compulsive behaviors, and destructive patterns through subconscious reprogramming, often after traditional approaches had failed. He emphasizes that transformation occurs most effectively when we replace the old habit with a positive alternative rather than simply trying to eliminate it. The concept of the subconscious as a faithful servant that executes whatever commands it receives forms a central metaphor in Murphy's teaching. He explains that the relationship between the conscious and subconscious mind mirrors the relationship between a captain and crew on a ship. The conscious mind, like the captain, issues orders and sets the direction, while the subconscious, like the crew, works tirelessly to follow those commands without question or judgment. This relationship means that we bear complete responsibility for the contents of our subconscious programming, as everything stored there was either consciously or unconsciously accepted by our conscious mind at some point. Murphy emphasizes that the subconscious never acts independently or capriciously. It can only work with the material we provide through our habitual thoughts, beliefs, and mental images. This understanding is both sobering and empowering. Sobering because we must acknowledge our role in creating negative experiences, and empowering because we possess the ability to give new commands that produce different results. Murphy teaches that effective communication with the subconscious requires clarity, repetition, and emotional conviction. Vague or conflicting commands produce confused results, while clear, consistent directions delivered with feeling produce powerful manifestations. He warns against the common mistake of mentally dwelling on what we don't want while hoping for what we do want. The subconscious responds to the dominant mental images regardless of whether they're framed as desires or fears. For example, constantly thinking, "I don't want to be sick," impresses the image of sickness into the subconscious, whereas affirming, "I am healthy and strong," impresses the image of health. Murphy provides numerous practical examples of how to phrase affirmations and visualizations in positive present tense language that clearly communicates desired outcomes to the subconscious. He emphasizes that we must maintain consistency between our conscious commands and our habitual thinking patterns, as the subconscious responds to our dominant mental habits rather than to occasional positive thoughts. Murphy addresses the crucial subject of age and the subconscious mind, challenging common beliefs about aging and demonstrating that much of what we consider inevitable decline is actually the result of negative programming. He explains that society indoctrinates us from an early age with limiting beliefs about aging, teaching us to expect deterioration, disease, and diminished capacity as we grow older. These expectations, impressed deeply into the subconscious, become self-fulfilling prophecies as the subconscious faithfully manifests whatever we believe about ourselves. Murphy shares inspiring examples of individuals in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who maintained remarkable health, vitality, and mental acuity because they refused to accept negative beliefs about aging. He teaches that chronological age is far less important than our mental and emotional age, the beliefs we hold about our capacity, energy, and potential. Someone who is 30 years old but believes they're getting old and slowing down will experience aging much more rapidly than someone who is 70 but maintains youthful attitudes and expectations. Murphy provides specific affirmations for maintaining vitality, regardless of chronological age, such as, "I am ageless, timeless, and eternal," and "Every day I am becoming healthier, stronger, and more vibrant." He explains that the body's cells are constantly regenerating and that we literally create a new body over time. So there's no scientific reason why this regeneration couldn't continue indefinitely with proper mental programming. While Murphy acknowledges physical reality and doesn't promise immortality, he demonstrates that we possess far more control over the aging process than conventional medicine recognizes. He encourages readers to reject arbitrary retirement ages and societal expectations about what's possible at different life stages, instead, maintaining purposeful engagement with life and continuing to set meaningful goals regardless of age. Murphy emphasizes that staying mentally active, maintaining social connections, and continuing to contribute value to the world are essential for healthy aging. Not because of external factors, but because these activities keep our mental equivalents aligned with vitality rather than decline. The relationship between the subconscious mind and marriage or romantic partnership receives thorough exploration in Murphy's work. He explains that the quality of our intimate relationships directly reflects our subconscious beliefs about love, worthiness, and partnership. Many people unconsciously sabotage potentially wonderful relationships because their subconscious programming includes beliefs such as, "I don't deserve love," "relationships always end badly," or "I can't trust others." These limiting beliefs, often formed during childhood based on observations of our parents' relationship or early romantic disappointments, continue influencing our adult partnerships until consciously addressed and transformed. Murphy teaches that attracting an ideal partner begins not with searching externally, but with building a clear mental equivalent of the relationship we desire. This involves regularly visualizing ourselves in a harmonious, loving partnership and feeling the emotions of fulfillment, joy, and companionship that such a relationship would bring. He recommends creating a detailed list of the qualities desired in a partner, then impressing these qualities into the subconscious through meditation and affirmation. However, Murphy cautions against creating unrealistic or superficial lists focused primarily on external characteristics. Instead, we should focus on the essential qualities of character and compatibility that make relationships truly fulfilling. For those already in relationships experiencing difficulty, Murphy offers powerful techniques for transformation that don't require the partner's conscious participation. He teaches that by changing our own mental attitude toward our partner and deliberately choosing to see them at their highest potential, we can catalyze remarkable changes in the relationship dynamic. This involves releasing all criticism and resentment, practicing daily affirmations of love and appreciation, and consistently visualizing the relationship as harmonious and fulfilling. Murphy shares numerous testimonials from individuals who saved seemingly doomed marriages through this inner work, proving that we need not wait for others to change before experiencing transformation in our relationships. Murphy explores the fascinating connection between the subconscious mind and professional success, revealing that career advancement and business prosperity follow the same mental laws as health and relationships. He explains that many talented, hard-working individuals remain stuck in unfulfilling jobs or struggle financially because their subconscious programming contains limiting beliefs about their worth, capabilities, or what's possible for them professionally. Common limiting beliefs in this area include, "I'm not smart enough to succeed," "Success requires connections I don't have," or "People like me don't achieve that level of success." Murphy demonstrates that professional advancement begins with recognizing these limiting programs and deliberately replacing them with empowering beliefs about our capabilities and potential. He teaches that the subconscious mind can guide us toward the perfect career path and create opportunities for advancement if we clearly communicate our professional goals and trust the process. This involves regular visualization of ourselves already successful in our desired role, experiencing the feelings of satisfaction, confidence, and accomplishment that come with professional fulfillment. Murphy emphasizes the importance of blessing our current position even while working toward advancement, as resentment and dissatisfaction create mental blocks that prevent progress. He recommends affirming statements such as, "I am divinely guided to my perfect career," and "Infinite intelligence reveals the perfect opportunities for my professional growth." Murphy also addresses the common fear of competition and teaches that in reality, there's no competition when we're aligned with our true calling, because each person has unique talents and contributions that only they can offer. He explains that the subconscious mind, when properly directed, will guide us to situations where our specific gifts are valued and rewarded. Murphy shares inspiring stories of people who made dramatic career transitions, some at midlife or later, by following their subconscious guidance and refusing to accept limiting beliefs about their age or qualifications. He emphasizes that professional success isn't about forcing outcomes or manipulating circumstances, but rather about aligning our consciousness with our desires and allowing the subconscious to orchestrate the necessary opportunities and connections. The subject of creative expression and the subconscious receives Murphy's attention as he reveals that all artistic and creative achievement flows from the subconscious realm. He explains that the conscious mind, with its analytical and critical functions, often blocks creative expression by judging and censoring ideas before they fully form. In contrast, the subconscious is the source of inspiration, original ideas, and artistic vision that characterize truly creative work. Murphy teaches that artists, writers, musicians, and creators in all fields can dramatically enhance their work by learning to access the creative wisdom of their subconscious mind. This begins with releasing the tyranny of the inner critic, that voice of judgment and doubt that evaluates every creative impulse as inadequate. He recommends periods of free creative expression without judgment, allowing the subconscious to flow through us without interference from conscious criticism. Murphy explains that many creative blocks result from fear of failure, perfectionism, or subconscious beliefs that we're not truly creative or talented. These limiting beliefs must be identified and replaced with affirmations such as, "I am a channel for infinite creative intelligence," and "creative ideas flow through me effortlessly." He teaches a specific technique for overcoming creative blocks. Present the creative challenge clearly to your subconscious before sleep. Affirm that the perfect solution will be revealed, and then release it completely. Many artists and writers report that their best ideas come during dreams or in those drowsy moments between sleeping and waking, when the conscious mind is quiet. Murphy emphasizes that creativity isn't limited to traditional artistic pursuits. Problem-solving in business, innovation in science, and original thinking in any field all draw from the same subconscious creative source. He encourages readers to trust their creative instincts and honor the impulses that arise from their subconscious, even when they don't immediately make sense to the rational mind. Murphy shares numerous examples of famous creative achievements that came through sudden inspiration or dreams, demonstrating that the greatest human innovations and artistic works have always emerged from the subconscious realm. Murphy dedicates important attention to the role of gratitude and appreciation as powerful tools for subconscious programming. He explains that gratitude is not merely a pleasant emotion or social courtesy, but rather a transformative mental practice that dramatically affects our subconscious beliefs and expectations. When we cultivate habitual gratitude for what we already possess, we impress upon the subconscious a consciousness of abundance, which then attracts more experiences and circumstances to be grateful for. Conversely, chronic complaining and focus on what's lacking impress patterns of scarcity and dissatisfaction that perpetuate those conditions. Murphy teaches that we should begin each day with a gratitude practice, consciously acknowledging the blessings already present in our lives. Health, relationships, opportunities, and even simple comforts we typically take for granted. This practice doesn't deny genuine challenges or problems. Rather, it shifts our dominant mental focus from what's wrong to what's right, thereby programming the subconscious to expect and attract positive experiences. Murphy explains that gratitude must be genuine rather than forced, emerging from authentic appreciation rather than mechanical repetition. He recommends keeping a gratitude journal, writing down at least 5 things to appreciate each day, as the act of writing deepens the impression on the subconscious. Murphy also teaches the practice of advanced gratitude, giving thanks for desired outcomes before they manifest in physical reality. This technique signals the subconscious that we already possess what we desire, creating the mental equivalent that allows manifestation to occur. He shares testimonials from individuals who transformed their circumstances from poverty to prosperity, from illness to health, and from loneliness to fulfilling relationships, simply by shifting their dominant mental attitude from complaint to gratitude. Murphy emphasizes that gratitude should extend beyond our personal circumstances to include appreciation for others' success and good fortune, as envy and resentment create psychological barriers that block our own progress. He explains that when we genuinely celebrate others' achievements and blessings, we affirm. Murphy emphasizes that gratitude should extend beyond our personal circumstances to include appreciation for others' success and good fortune, as envy and resentment create psychological barriers that block our own progress. He explains that when we genuinely celebrate others' achievements and blessings, we affirm to our subconscious that such good fortune is possible and available in this universe, which opens us to receive similar blessings. The practice of blessing others' prosperity rather than envying it is particularly powerful because it dissolves the consciousness of lack and competition that keeps many people trapped in limitation. Murphy recommends a daily practice of mentally sending blessings to everyone we encounter, including those with whom we may have conflicts or difficulties. This practice gradually transforms our fundamental relationship with life from one of struggle and competition to one of abundance and cooperation. He teaches that the universe operates on principles of infinite supply rather than scarcity, meaning that someone else's success doesn't diminish our own potential for achievement. As we consistently practice gratitude and appreciation, Murphy explains, we create a magnetic quality in our consciousness that attracts circumstances, people, and opportunities aligned with our positive expectations. The subconscious mind, receiving constant impressions of abundance and blessing through our gratitude practice, naturally produces more experiences that match these impressions. Murphy concludes this teaching by emphasizing that gratitude is perhaps the simplest yet most powerful technique for reprogramming the subconscious, accessible to anyone regardless of current circumstances. The power of words and their impact on subconscious programming receives careful examination in Murphy's comprehensive system. He explains that words are not merely neutral sounds or symbols, but rather potent forces that shape our mental atmosphere and impress lasting patterns on the subconscious mind. Every word we speak, whether about ourselves or others, carries emotional energy and convictional power that influences our subconscious beliefs and expectations. Murphy warns against the common habit of negative self-talk, where people casually make statements like, "I'm so stupid," "I never succeed at anything," or "I always get sick during winter." These seemingly innocuous phrases, repeated habitually, become powerful negative affirmations that program the subconscious to manifest the stated conditions. He teaches that we must become conscious guardians of our speech, monitoring the words we use and ensuring they align with the reality we wish to create rather than perpetuating unwanted conditions. Murphy emphasizes that this doesn't mean engaging in denial or dishonesty about current circumstances. Rather, it means refusing to give negative conditions power and authority through constant verbal reinforcement. Instead of saying, "I am sick," someone practicing conscious speech might say, "I am recovering," or "My body is healing." Instead of declaring, "I'm broke," they might affirm, "I am attracting new sources of income." These subtle shifts in language gradually reprogram the subconscious with more empowering beliefs. Murphy also addresses the impact of words we use when speaking about others, teaching that gossip, criticism, and negative judgments create toxic mental environments that harm us more than their intended targets. He explains that the subconscious doesn't distinguish between statements about ourselves and statements about others. Negative speech patterns create generally negative programming regardless of their specific subject. Murphy recommends cultivating conscious speech habits that include affirmative language, expressions of gratitude, words of encouragement to others, and careful avoidance of complaints, criticism, and negative predictions. He shares examples of individuals who experienced remarkable transformations simply by changing their habitual speech patterns over several months. Murphy explores the relationship between the subconscious mind and what he calls the law of action and reaction, demonstrating how our mental states create corresponding conditions in our external environment. He explains that this principle operates with mathematical precision. The outer world we experience is always a perfect mirror of our inner mental world. When we understand this law, we recognize that every circumstance, relationship, and event in our lives serves as valuable feedback about our subconscious programming. Murphy teaches that instead of blaming external factors or other people for our difficulties, we should view challenges as opportunities to identify and transform limiting subconscious beliefs. For example, if we consistently experience financial lack, this reflects subconscious programming around scarcity and unworthiness that needs attention and transformation. If we repeatedly attract dysfunctional relationships, this signals subconscious beliefs about love and self-worth that require healing. Murphy emphasizes that this principle isn't about self-blame or guilt, but rather about recognizing our creative power and responsibility in shaping our experience. Once we accept that our outer world reflects our inner world, we gain tremendous leverage for transformation because changing outer circumstances becomes simply a matter of changing inner consciousness. He provides a systematic approach for working with this law. First, we identify patterns in our external experience. Second, we ask what subconscious beliefs might be creating these patterns. Third, we consciously choose new beliefs aligned with our desired outcomes. And fourth, we consistently impress these new beliefs on the subconscious through affirmation, visualization, and emotional conviction. Murphy shares powerful testimonials from people who completely transformed their life circumstances by applying this principle, moving from poverty to prosperity, from illness to vibrant health, and from isolation to fulfilling relationships. He emphasizes that transformation requires patience and persistence, as deeply ingrained subconscious patterns don't change overnight. But with consistent application of these principles, anyone can experience profound and lasting change. Murphy concludes by affirming that the law of action and reaction, properly understood, is profoundly liberating because it means we're never truly victims of circumstances, but always possess the power to create new realities through conscious direction of our subconscious mind. The subject of meditation and mental stillness emerges as a crucial practice in Murphy's system for accessing the deeper wisdom of the subconscious mind. He explains that the constant chatter of the conscious mind, with its endless stream of thoughts, worries, and mental commentary, creates interference that prevents us from hearing the quiet voice of our subconscious wisdom. Murphy teaches that regular periods of meditation, where we deliberately quiet the conscious mind and enter into stillness, allow us to access guidance, insight, and creative solutions from deeper levels of consciousness. He clarifies that meditation in this context doesn't necessarily mean elaborate spiritual practices or adherence to particular religious traditions. Rather, it simply means creating periods of mental quietude where the analytical, judging mind becomes still. Murphy recommends beginning with just 15 or 20 minutes daily in a quiet environment, sitting comfortably and gently turning attention inward. He suggests focusing on the breath or repeating a simple, peaceful phrase to give the conscious mind something to occupy itself with, while the deeper self can emerge. During these quiet periods, Murphy explains, the subconscious becomes more accessible and responsive to our conscious intentions and questions. Many people report receiving surprising insights, creative solutions, and intuitive guidance during or immediately after meditation. Murphy emphasizes that meditation shouldn't be approached as a grim duty or difficult discipline, but rather as a peaceful, rejuvenating practice that we look forward to as a gift we give ourselves. He explains that the benefits of meditation extend far beyond problem-solving and guidance. Regular practice gradually transforms our entire mental atmosphere, reducing anxiety, increasing emotional stability, and creating a fundamental sense of peace that persists throughout daily activities. Murphy shares research demonstrating meditation's beneficial effects on physical health, including reduced blood pressure, improved immune function, and decreased stress hormones, all resulting from the profound relaxation and mental harmony meditation creates. He teaches that meditation is particularly powerful when combined with affirmation and visualization practices, as the relaxed, receptive state of meditation allows positive suggestions to penetrate deeply into the subconscious without resistance from the critical, conscious mind. Murphy encourages readers to experiment with meditation and discover what approaches work best for them, whether sitting quietly, walking in nature, or engaging in repetitive activities like swimming or gardening that induce meditative states. In his concluding teachings, Murphy synthesizes all the principles he's presented into a comprehensive worldview that emphasizes human potential, personal responsibility, and the extraordinary creative power residing within each individual's subconscious mind. He reminds readers that the techniques and principles he's shared aren't theoretical speculation, but practical tools that have been tested and proven effective by countless individuals throughout history. Murphy emphasizes that the power of the subconscious mind is completely impartial and available to everyone regardless of education, social status, or past circumstances. The only requirement is consistent, faithful application of the principles he's outlined. He acknowledges that transforming deeply ingrained patterns requires patience and persistence, and that results may not appear overnight. But he assures readers that consistent practice inevitably produces profound changes. Murphy encourages readers to begin immediately with whatever aspect of their lives needs the most attention, whether health, finances, relationships, or personal growth, and to apply the principles systematically to that area. He recommends starting with small, manageable goals rather than attempting to transform everything simultaneously, as early successes build confidence and momentum for addressing larger challenges. Throughout all his teachings, Murphy maintains an optimistic yet realistic perspective, neither promising magic nor underestimating the genuine effort required for transformation. He reminds readers that they possess within their subconscious mind an ally of unimaginable power and wisdom, always ready to support their highest aspirations and well-being. Murphy's final message is one of hope and empowerment. Regardless of past failures, current limitations, or external circumstances, every person possesses the innate ability to transform their life through conscious direction of their subconscious mind. He encourages readers to view themselves not as helpless victims buffeted by fate, but as creative beings with the power to shape their destiny through their thoughts, beliefs, and mental habits. Murphy concludes by affirming that the journey of self-transformation through subconscious reprogramming is perhaps the most important work any individual can undertake, as it affects not only their own life, but radiates outward to benefit their family, community, and the world. His book stands as both an instruction manual and an invitation to claim our birthright as creative beings capable of manifesting health, prosperity, harmonious relationships, and fulfillment in every area of life through the extraordinary power residing within our subconscious minds.